Turn up. Let's go.
What is up, you guys? I'm Charmx. Today I'm gonna be reacting to Film Theory, Can You Speak Groot? Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy by the Film Theorist. Now, I've been reacting to a Film Theorist video in a little while now, but hopefully this will be quite educational. But with that being said, the original link's in the description. Without any further ado, let's begin.
You ever notice how it seems like every popular franchise has a character who doesn't talk, or barely talks? And how they are always so beloved? Snoopy? Check. Kenny from South Park? Check. Chewbacca and R2-D2?
He makes a lot of noise though, doesn't he? I can't do it. That makes me look crazy doing that.
Double check. Pikachu, Groot, Hodor for crying out loud? Check, check, and screw you, Bran. So you know what, guys? I'm just gonna do a bit of a rebrand. From now on, I'm gonna limit myself to saying 5 things. Matt, Pat, Theory, YouTube, Diet Coke, and subscribe. YouTube, Matt, Pat, subscribe, Theory. Diet Coke.
I love you even more now, Matt.
Adorable now. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that speaks the true universal language, complaining about movies on the internet. Today, though, I'm not complaining about some cinematic stinker or even ruining a childhood classic. No, today I'm talking Guardians of the Galaxy, which is one of my, if not my all-time favorite slice of the MCU pie. Wait.
Guardians of the Galaxy is like one of the best. It's so funny. But then again, I also think Thor Ragnarok, I think it's Thor Ragnarok if I'm thinking correctly. It's like one of the funniest Marvel movie I've seen. It's so funny.
You didn't know that I love these movies? Did you see the last Guardians of the Galaxy? Huh. I haven't done a Guardians of the Galaxy episode. Maybe it means that even for my cold little dead theorist heart, there are some corners of moviedom that remain sacred. Well, at least until
not anymore,
today.
Yeah.
And hey, better late than never, right? Chris Pratt, I never forgot about you. And you know a movie's good when you have a Pratt-tastic lead, a deadpan berserker who takes everything literally, and a smack-talking trash panda.
Yeah.
Come out as the fan favorite of the movie, because as we all know, the fan favorite of Guardians is clearly Groot.
Nope, not mine, not mine, not mine. See, now, I know that's probably where I differ with a lot of people. See, with me, I think my favorite is actually Rocket, because it's so cute. I freaking love Rocket. And although I like Groot, I like Groot and Rocket. I like their interaction together. I really do. So those two together, I would say, are my favorite, not just solely Groot.
He's the Guardian that we all aspire to be. Eco-friendly, laid back, tree person, a few words. And it's that last part that I want to figure out today. Groot famously says only 3 words.
I am Groot!
Except when he doesn't at the end of the first movie, spoilers from 5 years ago.
Oh yeah.
A touching scene right there.
And yet, we're supposed to believe that this is a language all its own. Rocket Raccoon doesn't have any trouble understanding Groot's meaning.
I am Groot.
Uh-huh.
I am Groot.
That's right.
And he's not just humoring the old sap. Badoom-ching! Thor says in Infinity War
the old sap. Wow, well done there. Well done there.
that he took a class on Groot in Asgard.
You speak Groot?
Yes, the total on Asgard.
So we know that this language is not just specific to this one Groot, nor is it only understandable to someone who has been around Groot for a very long time. Our question today hinges on the reality of a language built around 3 words: I am Groot. Would it be possible to have a workable language where you could actually communicate meaningfully with those 3 words? Would it
maybe. I don't know. Like, you could definitely tell by the way his tone and his voice and him saying it that, you know, what he's feeling, kind of. You know, when he was angry, he's like, I'm Groot! And then when he's, you know, more calm and whatnot, it's definitely a different tone in it. And I don't know, like, I know, you know, some tribes, you know, they did the clicking sound and whatnot, and if they can communicate that way, that obviously means that it could be possible to communicate by saying I'm Groot, different versions of it or something like that, maybe. I don't know, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities.
Would it be possible for a human to understand it? And could we, in the real world, learn Groot. We're going well beyond Rosetta Stone, Duolingo, and Babbel today, kids. We're talking about talking to trees, not the kind that'll carry you to Isengard. We can determine how feasible Groot's language is in real life from a few different angles, but they all require just a little bit of knowledge of how languages work and actually give meaning to everything around us. So obviously vocabulary is one big way that we get meaning.
Yes, I find words in general are a good way of communication.
We assign different sounds to be associated with different objects or ideas, keeps everything pretty straightforward, but it's
Notification bell. Hint, hint.
hardly the only way to tell one object from another. All the ways that we can assign meaning to things around us in language is called linguistic prosody. Prosody refers to the properties of syllables, words, and sentences that can change the meaning of the overall message. Sure, we can change the words we use and that changes the message we're delivering, but there are lots of other ways to change the message that most of us never even think about. The four major elements are pitch, length, prominence, and timbre. Pitch, just like in singing, has to do with the tone or note of
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So for I'm Groot, it could be I'm Groot or I'm Groot or something like that. And you can also extend it out to be I am Groot. Or we can make it faster.
how you say a word or phrase. In English, it isn't so much the specific note with which the word is said that changes, like different keys on a piano produce different notes, but more about how the movement of pitch creates different meanings. If I say the phrase, you don't like Cheetos, with that kind of flat, even tone, you know, I'm just saying that you're not into the delicious puffs of
Yeah, but when you raise it up, then it's a question.
processed cheesy deliciousness. But then, without changing any words, I can say the exact same sentence and move the pitch upward at the end to make it a question. You don't like Cheetos? Asking whether you like them and clearly implying that you have no taste in snack food. In other languages, pitch can change the meanings of the same word entirely. The best known example is probably Mandarin Chinese, which is a
Yeah, I know that. My father was trying to learn Mandarin years ago. Way back. My father was trying to learn it. And I remember some of the stuff, because I'd be in the car with him, right? And I'd have to sit through it. It's supposedly one of the most, like, complicated languages to learn or something. But, like, yeah, you could, the same word can mean different things depending on the like, in inflection or whatever that, you know, the emphasis that's put on it or whatever.
tonal language and has 5 distinct tones. It has a reputation as one of the hardest languages to learn,
Yep.
particularly for Americans. In Mandarin, the word ma can mean mother, scold, horse, or hem, and figuring out which one is which
What? It can mean 4? It can mean 4 different words? So you have to be, like, really paying attention when you're hearing someone speak over there, I guess, or in this language. If you aren't paying that much attention and you hear it, it could be any of these to you, if you don't catch the right inflection or whatever. That could make for some awkward conversations.
which depends on identifying exactly which tone is being used. Since I'd probably butcher the pronunciation and get dragged all over the internet for messing it up, I'm gonna let this lady demonstrate. Lots of languages allow for tonal variation, usually just
Wow.
with a high, medium, or low tone. But there are some exceptions. Wobe, a language spoken in Côte d'Ivoire, has as many as 14 different tones.
Conversations there must be really confusing, especially if you have to talk to someone at a far distance.
Now, how does all this relate back to Groot? Well, despite the fact that Groot is only using 3 words, tonal variations on those words could very easily give us anywhere from 3 to 14 separate meanings, and then combining those tones together could generate a huge variety of meanings from their combinations, and that's just the beginning. Length is the next type of prosody, and it's pretty
That's another thing I was saying, you know, you go, I am Groot or I am Groot. And it's longer. So yeah, I guess it is possible that it could be, you know, its own language. But the question is, did the creators of it actually make up their own language for this? Which seems like it'd be way too much to do that. Or did they just observe different languages and notice that, you know, the inflection parts and the length and kind of just put it into the movie that way, where there isn't an actual meaning behind it. They just had different I am Groots and put it into the movie.
pretty self-explanatory. How long a sound is can affect how it's interpreted. For example, you're more likely to take me seriously if I say hey than if I say hey. The
Yeah.
Elongation of the second one in English tends to imply that I'm either a little drunk or I'm coming on to you. But any elongation or abbreviation of the way that we say a word in English isn't gonna change what the word fundamentally means, just how we interpret it. But in other languages, the length can absolutely change the literal interpretation of the words as well, with one of the best examples being Morse code.
I guess length does matter. Who would have guessed?
In Morse code, sequences of short and long beats, known as dots and dashes, are combined to form letters that'll eventually spell out a message. Now, you're not gonna get a lot out of the phrase, I am Groot, if you're thinking in Morse code terms. That's only 3 beats. And it takes a full 18 beats in Morse code just to say Diet Coke without even adding hashtag not sponsored. On the other hand, it would be
Man, Matt's really begging for that sponsorship.
perfectly feasible that there's a difference in meaning between
I'm Groot.
and
I am Groot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can definitely tell he's angry.
Well, it's hard to measure the lengths of words exactly. You can use music as a proxy, and at least say that you can compare the length of words to a whole note, half note, quarter, eighth, or 16th, and that gives you a lot more room to work with. So as long as Groot can keep time by tapping his, I don't know, he doesn't have toes, his roots,
His stumps. Hey.
I guess, he can get a lot of different rhythmic variations out of that single catchphrase. We'll add how many different variations to the calculation in just a minute. The next bit of prosody for us to consider is the one that I experience every time I get a phone call from a number that isn't saved into my phone. Stress, or even when the number is saved into my phone. It's a phone, I don't want to talk to you. Also known as accent, or emphasis, or prominence. Ironically, linguistics can't make up its mind about what it wants to call its own terms. Anyway, the meanings of phrases and sentences can change dramatically when we either stress or don't stress a certain part.
What about for me, Matt? I cannot stress any word. I have a very monotone voice, you could say.
My favorite example of this is actually a meme that's melted the brains of Redditors for years. The
meme?
sentence, I never said she stole my money, has vastly different connotations when you stress each different word. I never said she stole my money indicates that somebody else accused her of being a thief. I never said she stole my money implies that you think she probably jacked your wallet, but you weren't going public with that. I never said she stole my money means that she stole your bike, or your heart, or your Netflix password.
That's true. There's a lot of different meanings, I guess, all depending on what you're emphasizing. I never thought of that.
And so on and so on and so on. This one is pretty binary in that you can stress a word or you can leave it unstressed, but that still multiplies the number of
Or
ways
stress a
Groot can
word.
say, I am Groot, by a factor of 8. I am Groot. 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 8 different varieties. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Vin Diesel, eat your heart out. And the last bit of prosody we're discussing is timbre. Talkin' timbre of a talkin' timber, am I right? Oh, the dad jokes are just coursing through my veins today. Timbre is the hardest of the prosodic elements to define because it's pretty subjective. But in layman's terms,
See, I find it hard to believe that the creators of Guardians of the Galaxy would have gone through all of this just for the movie. Just for the saying, I am Groot. I think that although it's definitely possible that it could be its own language if people spent time developing it or whatever, but I think it's just more that the developers had him saying it calm, you know, I am Groot, when it was more of a calm scene and a calm atmosphere. But then, you know, when he's angry, he says it, I am Groot. You know, he says it like that. Definitely get the feeling that he's angry, he's mad. That's the way I think they did it.
it's the sound quality that's being produced. This can get super technical if you start using terms like micro-intonation, prefix, and spectral envelope. But we all experience timbre in ways that are easier to describe, like vibrato. There's certainly a difference between saying Groot in a normal voice and modulating it to Groot. Fun fact, in college I took a voice class that focused heavily on timbre. Our professor made us develop a voice called the Hollywood voice. I literally spent a semester trying to
Was that it?
Sounds more like a I've been smoking for 30 years voice if you ask me.
talk like hollow wood. Also, metal voice, metal voice. There it is. That's what I did for an
This is what you did in college? You learned how to make weird sounds?
entire semester. Ladies and gentlemen,
Wow.
the life of a theater major. But timbre rarely affects the meaning of language, it more affects the experience of it. Morgan Freeman's voice doesn't fundamentally change what's being said, it just makes it more soothing and buttery.
What does the fox say? A ring-a-ding-ding?
I don't know what it is with Morgan Freeman in my episodes lately, but like butter. Therefore, I'm gonna leave timbre
Yeah, who doesn't love Morgan Freeman? Who doesn't love Morgan Freeman?
out of the calculations, though Groot's timbre would definitely fluctuate based on his mood.
I'm Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot.
So is there enough
Wait, you're saying that him saying it like angrily and then not angrily isn't gonna be affecting the words, or like the way he's saying it.
Variation in the way that Groot can say those 3 magic words to make it an official language. Well, let's imagine a best case scenario. If we say that Groot's language has as many notes as Wobay's 14, that length can be distinguished into whole, half, quarter, eighth, and 16th notes to create different meanings, and that the meaning changes when a word is stressed or unstressed, well, we get a lot of different ways of saying that phrase. 2,744,000 ways, to be exact. Maybe that's being a bit too optimistic, though. So if
Yeah, no kidding. That's crazy.
we keep the tones, but instead of using all those differentiations in length and instead focus on whether the word is short or long, like in Morse code, we still end up with 175,616 different variations of I am Groot.
So yes, it's obviously possible that you could make a language of it, but trying to learn said language would be very difficult. Very difficult for anyone. Even though it is just the same words, you have to then go and you have to notice the slight little differences. So yeah, your conversations would be, you know, getting mixed up now and then because you wouldn't really catch exactly what he's trying to say because you might miss, you know, a little bit here and there.
Comparison, the second edition of the Oxford English Dictionary gives the English language a strangely similar number of words at 171,476. We have made a solid case for Groot's language here, but I can see you arguing that this can't actually work because there's no real-world language that works this way. No language just works with 3 words and just modifications in tone and rhythm and stuff. There's no proof.
And he's gonna come and prove us wrong, I bet. However, I didn't say it, so he's not proving me wrong. I'm saying that obviously it's possible, but learning it and trying to speak it and understand someone else speaking it could be it could be a big problem. Because you gotta try to catch every single thing they're saying. Like, you gotta try to catch the little differences. If I say, how's it going? 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 You know exactly what I'm saying. You know, it's how's it going, all these weird different ways of saying it, but it's still how's it going. With Groot, he's saying, I'm Groot, I'm Groot, I'm Groot, I'm Groot. It has different meanings for every single way to say it. And you're not gonna be able to catch every single way.
And, you know, that's a reasonable complaint, or at least it would be if it were true. So if you only want to count languages that are native to a specific real-world culture somewhere on planet Earth, at this moment, there is a real-world language that gives us a new minimum of words in a vocabulary. And
How many?
that number...
How many?
0. On the Canary Islands, the native Silbo-Gamero language is composed entirely of whistles. No.
Whistles? Really? It's not like the clicking one? It's just whistles? Wow.
Spoken words whatsoever. That sounds like you probably can't say much with it, but you would be incorrect. So there you go. Groot's 3-word vocabulary is 3 more words than a language actually needs, which then by proxy means that we could learn to speak Groot, right?
You can easily. You just have problems trying to understand people.
Fans could gather at Comic-Con like Trekkies do at conventions, except instead
that'd be so cringy. Every year you definitely see clips on YouTube of like cringe compilations of it.
speaking Klingon, they'd be speaking Groot. No, you can't. As much as I would love to see it, according to Maximus the Mad in the War of Kings series, it's likely impossible. Groot only sounds like he's repeating his name over and over because of his hardened larynx, and the key to understanding him is to listen to the sigh of breeze beneath it, the nuance of meaning.
What? Come on now, Matt. How do you spend an entire video building a case to support a theory, and then right at the end you're like, nah, I'm just messing with you. I was just messing with you. You can't. Are you kidding me? But then again, I mean, I guess you could. You could. If someone spent enough time developing a language or whatever of I am Groot, they could make it their own language, even though it might not be the exact same one from Guardians of the Galaxy. You could make it have its own meanings and whatnot, depending on the way it's said or whatever.
For one, listening for some kind of magical breeze is not really an area of prosody, but more relevant is the hardened larynx bit. Humans do not have a hardened larynx, and it's not worth trying to figure out a way to get one because in people, a hardened larynx is actually a serious medical condition. Guess we'll just have to stay rooted, come to terms with the fact that when it comes to speaking Groot, we won't be able to branch out. But hey!
Branch out, really?
I am Groot!
Well guys, I hope you liked this video. I think, yeah, obviously it can be a language. If it were like developed or whatever, and people got around, they all learned it, it could be a language. Well, but it wouldn't be the language from the movie though. because, you know, as Matt pointed out, it can't be, because we don't have the hardened larynx or whatever. But it still can be if people were to take the time to develop it and whatnot. I don't know why you'd spend an entire video building a case of it can be a language and then just right at the end saying, nah, it can't be. Whatever. But anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Possibly share a friend. If you did, subscribe to the family. Also, make sure you guys go subscribe to the Film Theater. Some links in the description. We'll see you guys next time. Boop!